everyone. Welcome to today's White Mountain Education Association Sunday broadcast. Today I'm going to be talking about the immortal spirit and reincarnation. So let me begin with this story. A young man, troubled by the concept of rebirth and the suffering of the world, approached the Buddha and asked for an explanation. How can it be, he questioned, that we are reborn? If a person dies and their body turns to dust, what does the new life, where does the new life come from? It seems like nothing more than a new fire being lit from nowhere. The Buddha smiled gently and asked the young man, tell me, if a man plants a mango seed, does the mango tree grow from it or from an apple tree? Well, a mango tree, of course, the young man replied. And when the mango tree bears fruit and a new seed falls to the ground, what grows from that? Another mango tree, the young man said, beginning to see the pattern. The Buddha then explained, when you light a candle and then use its flame to light another candle, is the flame on the second candle the same flame from the first? No, the young man pondered, it is not. The first flame still exists, but the second one has been ignited by its energy and heat. Exactly, the Buddha said. The new flame has come into existence because of the old flame, but it is not identical to it. In the same way, the mango tree that grows from the seed is not the same as the parent tree, but it is a direct result of it. So the seeds, the fruit, the leaves, they all carry the essence of the parent tree, but they are a new, separate life. So it is with rebirth, the Buddha concluded. When a person dies, their physical body perishes, but their karma, their intentions, actions, and accumulated wisdom is like the seed. It is not a soul that jumps from body to body, but rather the energy and momentum of your actions that give rise to a new life, a new form. That new life is not the exact same person, but it is a direct consequence of the previous one. Just as the flame lights a new candle and the seed grows a new tree, the old life gives rise to a new one, carrying with it the consequences of the past deeds. So the young man, hearing this, finally understood. He saw that rebirth is not a fixed soul, but a continuous process of cause and effect, where every thought, word, and action created the conditions for the next moment, the next life. And he bowed to the Buddha, his mind at peace. Isn't that a lovely story? Yeah, it is. So many of us, even though we may not have had a conscious recall of our previous lives, take comfort in the recognition that not only is our human soul immortal, but that it also cyclically incarnates. So I was thinking this morning of different experiences that myself and others have had, not necessarily remembering our previous lives, but the proof of the continuity of life. And in that thinking, I was reminded when I was working for 3 years with a spiritual teacher that I first studied with, and I was her secretary for those 3 years, and learned a lot, not only about office management, but spiritual things. And working for her gave me an opportunity to be a guinea pig for many of the guest speakers that she would invite to give seminars and so forth. And I won't go into all the experiences I had, but it taught me a lot about, these experiences taught me a lot about the continuity of life. And in this one situation, I had a dream about my teacher's teacher. And she had died, and in the dream, this teacher presented herself to me as a young person. She was beautiful and so young, and I'd never met her physically, so this is quite a surprise to me. And she told me who she was, and she said, I want you to tell your teacher that I'm fine, and told me a few other things to give her as a message. So the next day I went into work, and my boss, my teacher, came in and talked with me and said, well, I have a message for you from so-and-so. And her face just went white, and she said, well, what was it? And she said, how do you know it was her? So I gave her, the image that I remembered from the dream as a young girl. And her face went white again. She said, that's what she looked like when she was young. And she died old. So she presented herself the way she wanted others to remember her. And then I gave the message to my teacher. And it was so that was one experience of many. And so for myself, it's believing in reincarnation is not just a belief, but it's a fact. And I think we start, particularly those in the West that were not raised in their churches to believe in reincarnation. I think we open up books and, we read about reincarnation and entertain the idea as being a possibility. And then you begin to have these experiences about the continuity of life. And then finally, it's just like it gets into your bones, into your blood, into your realizations that reincarnation is a fact. As we study the teaching, we learn that our soul evolves. It becomes more selective about whom, to whom, and where it incarnates whereas before he was more random and incarnated in various kinds of magnetic karma. So this is an interesting idea that if you consider life and evolution and how many millions of years life has been evolving from the first system and the second system and solar system. So we've been around many, many times. And we're told in the beginning with the rebirth process that it is random, that it's not so structured, it's not so planned. We just keep reincarnating. And the purpose behind it is to have experience. To have experience of what it means to be like in form. And then there reaches a time where the soul wakes up and is tired of just repetitive, nonsensical, incarnations. And now the soul steps on a spiritual path, and this path leads them into specific situations and life purpose and families and friends and teachers that help that soul unfold into the evolutionary process which life is designed for us to experience. Now, the majority of people who live in the West believe that reincarnation is a fabrication and that it is related only to Eastern religions. Many feel the same way about yoga. And yoga, oh my. I recall when my sister-in-law announced to her husband back in the 60s that she was going to take a yoga class. He rolled his eyes to the back of his head and he said, "You don't really believe in that stuff, do you?" So today's society more commonly accepts the practice of yoga than it did way back in the 60s. It is presently met though with much less ridicule and even prescribed by some medical doctors as an exercise to reduce stress. Of course, those who are more educated in the study of yoga recognize that Hatha yoga is a yoga that was designed for humanity many thousands of years ago. Now, the reason I'm talking about yoga, you may be wondering, what does yoga have to do with reincarnation? Yoga is the process of uniting the soul with the spirit and to promote its evolution into more progressive, enlightening experiences. So I wanted to bring yoga into the factor that yoga is an important experience to your soul to have. So yoga evolves as humanity evolves. Agni yoga is the yoga of today. It is the yoga of living ethics, the yoga of synthesis. Hatha yoga was a yoga to anchor the etheric body, see the uniting, to anchor the etheric body to the physical body. And then the next major yoga was bhakti yoga, which was the yoga for the emotional body, inspiring it with the virtue of devotion. Now these yogas, as humanity evolves, new yogas are given to us. So like with bhakti yoga, the practice of bhakti yoga was to mature the astral body or the emotional body, inspiring it with a new virtue. In this case, it was devotion. Bhakti yoga is known to inspire its practitioners with devotion. Then we have Raja Yoga that followed Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga was a means to develop the intellect, to develop the mental body. And now Agni Yoga, the newest yoga, is the yoga of solar fire. So meanwhile, reincarnation is more difficult to accept because the majority of Western religions teach that it is unreal, that it is fictitious. However, prior to the 4th century, reincarnation was naturally accepted. I find that very interesting. The early references to reincarnation in the New Testament were deleted in the 4th century by Emperor Constantine, which was the time that Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. This is in the 4th century. In the 6th century, in the year, we are told in the year 553 AD, the Second Council of Constantinople officially declared reincarnation as a heresy. You can go on the internet, you can research, you can find all of this information, which is pure fact. So the reincarnation, declared reincarnation as a heresy, and the doctrine of reincarnation was officially banished by the Christian Church. It was banished for no other reason than it was considered to be too much of an influence from the East. Isn't that something? And look at how it changed the lives and the thinking of millions and millions of people. So during the same early Christian era, leading up to the Council of Constantinople, notable church fathers like Origen accepted and believed in the reincarnation principle. So did the Gnostics and the Christian Cathars of Italy and southern France, where they were severely brutalized for their belief in reincarnation as late as the 12th century. Aside from the history, the surprising point is that there is actually a considerable amount of evidence for reincarnation in the New Testament that unequivocally implies reincarnation. So it's there, you just have to look for it and read it and understand it. So here's one example from John 9:1. And as he was passing by, he saw a blind man from birth, blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who has sinned, this man or his parents, that he should be born blind? Jesus answered, neither has this man sinned, nor his parents, but the works of God were to be made manifest in him. Again, you can read that in John 9:1. However, reincarnation is not a doctrine. It's not a dogma. It's not a religious belief. We are discussing a law of the universe, a law of the universe. So remember that the law of reincarnation is the law of the universe. It's not a religious doctrine or dogma. It can be expressed through any religion, any philosophy, or even any psychology. Okay, so what is the immortal spirit? The teaching explains that we are a spark of God, a ray of God, that we are little cells in the body of the universe. I love that. Little members of the universe. And that the universal intelligence, that great, great being, sent us to refine the planet. So there is a purpose of reincarnation, to refine this planet. According to the universal law of reincarnation, we are sent to this or any other planet with a great responsibility and duty. See, these duties, these responsibilities begin to manifest once the unfolding human soul awakens and stops this repetitive reincarnation superfluously. Is that the right word? Superficially. Is that a better word? Okay. And now each lifetime we come back with a specific understanding that we are here with a sense of responsibility and certain duties to do, and we stop wasting our time. We have a great responsibility and duty as we reincarnate. So life after life, a person returns to create a better body, one that will eventually reach such a degree of refinement that it will be transfigured. Their light will shine to such a degree that people will be able to see that they are transfigured. This is why we had the meditation that we had today, to help our bodies become transfigured. So what does it mean to be transfigured? Transfiguration is the total purification and alignment, total purification and alignment of the mental, emotional, and physical bodies. It occurs when our evolving human soul takes what is called the third initiation of consciousness. It is the moment of supreme enlightenment. So as we prepare for and participate in, let's say, full moon meditations, especially the full moons of Aries and Taurus and Gemini festivals, we are given plenty of opportunity to strive toward supreme enlightenment. Transfiguration is interesting. It takes a lot of hard work. It isn't something that just descends upon us. We strive through this purification process that leads us into the ultimate, let's say, of purification called transfiguration, which is a very intense experience, and it begins to destroy habits. It means that our whole personality life must pass away and something new must be born. So we've been sent to this planet to refine ourselves and life. Eventually, here's the story. Eventually, we dedicate our refined body and elements to nature. For example, say that I own a Rolls Royce. I looked this up, it's a $10 million car. There's a specific kind of Rolls Royce. I couldn't pronounce the name, so I didn't put it in my talk. But it costs $10 million. So let's say that I owned a Rolls Royce, which I kept in the best condition. Now, when I depart, I'm going to leave it to one of my friends. If they know how to drive and maintain that car, they will be able to use it just as I imaginatively did. It is the same with our astral and mental bodies. So this is hinted at in the biblical story of Elijah. When Elijah departed, a carriage arrived into which he jumped and flew into the sky. His disciples were waiting, and he took his mantle and he threw it to them. When they dressed in his mantle, they obtained the same spiritual powers that Elijah had. This mantle was one of his bodies, perhaps his intuitional or mental body. So we must proceed toward perfection, toward improvement, toward completion, life after life, because we cannot yet resurrect ourselves. We are instructed to be perfect as our Father in heaven is perfect. This means that we cannot accomplish this goal in one life. We can, however, improve each life, getting closer and closer so that one day we're going to be very successful. This is what living ethics is about. It is about the hidden glory of the inner man. It is about the immortal spirit. In living ethics, we learn about the teaching of karma and reincarnation. We learn about the law of the universe. As we strive and refine ourselves, our physical, emotional, and mental bodies, as we build our intuitional body, the body of the Buddha, called the Buddhic body, we are refining ourselves and also the body of the planet. Now, at the same time, if you hurt someone, even in a subtle way, you're also hurting your emotional and mental bodies. Isn't this interesting? That when we hurt others, we're hurting ourselves. When you hurt yourself and others, you are not working for refinement. You're not working for perfection. You are working for degeneration. So we must improve ourselves physically, but also control our emotions so that they will not create friction in our body. If our emotions and physical body are good, but our mind is a mess, then it's not going to work. We will always have mental friction and be unhealthy. Many people have what I call mean minds. Mean minds are minds filled with negative thoughts about others, negative thoughts about themselves, thoughts which eventually manifest themselves in degenerative ways, hurtful ways. So observe your thoughts. Observe if you have a mean mind. Are you mostly pure in your thoughts of others and your thoughts about yourself, your life, your loved ones, your friends, or are you mean in your thoughts? I think we will find that we are both. Sometimes we are beautiful in our thoughts about others and are able to build right human relations, but at other times, mean. When we are mean in our thoughts, we are on our way to destroy what we have been building. When the teacher gives their mantle to another, that mantle includes clairvoyance, clairaudience, sensitivity, impression, and a lot of experience. It is a complicated and intricate mechanism that teacher has constructed. So how are you constructing your astral and your mental bodies? We have come here to refine. So just remember that when you're thinking, oh my, do I have to come back here again? Well, take a look at yourself. So yeah, I do. So we have come here to refine. As we do for the earth, we do for ourselves. As we perfect life, we perfect ourselves. Whatever we do for others, it is ultimately done to ourselves. People often think differently, but when you prioritize your own interests over others, then you're going to lack equilibrium or balance. And that is how people live. Big houses, 2 or 3 cars, certain lifestyles, Rolls Royces, and so on. Even when they have it, they do not enjoy it. We must make other people prosperous and happy and healthy if we want to be happy or healthy ourselves. So reincarnation has one aim, which is to perfect. Incarnation is not a myth, it is a law. Everybody incarnates. Look at the trees. They die in the winter and they are reborn in the spring. Planets and solar systems disappear and then they come back into being again. When a person is dying in our tradition, we administer Holy Communion and try to stay with them to their last moments. To try to establish and maintain continuity of consciousness. Some people, when they are dying, identify with their bodies. When it is failing, they think it is over, that life is really finished for them. They die, hypnotizing themselves, blocking their soul. Some people panic and think that they are going to go to hell forever and burned. And so they don't want to die. And they struggle, they are afraid. But we believe in immortality. It's very interesting. I'm on a online group called Quora, Quora, I think that's how you pronounce it. And so frequently somebody brings up, a situation, they're sick, they're dying, or they have a terminal illness, or a friend of theirs does, and they start talking about being afraid of dying, or they ask questions, what happens after you die? And for a person like myself, you can imagine what it is like for me to listen to all of these stories of fear and misunderstanding and apprehension, and the stories of people saying, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, it's going to be horrible. And I just feel so badly that what we, as a society have been born into, and not understanding about life, the continuity of life and reincarnation. And now in this country we have so many elderly people still living in their 70s and 80s and 90s. Their thoughts are turning to, I don't know statistically how many people we have that are over the age of 70. I think the actuarial tables say 73 is now the, your end of life, right? Anybody know? But I think it's about 73. So there are a lot of people thinking about the end of their life. They need to listen to today's talk. Hopefully they will find it. When you are dying, you say, Lord, please take care of me. I am with you. Lord, please take care of me. I am with you. When you are dying, remember there is no death for you. By putting this thought in your mind, you're going to be able to see what is happening to your body, but you will not be your body. You will be already 5 or 6 miles away. You will see the body because your soul jumps away from the body. And this is what happened to my mom. She gave me this wonderful gift of her experience of when she passed. And I was in the house, my brother's house, and where he was taking care of her. And so I would go over there every Friday to spend time with her, and till the day, of her death came. And I was sitting in the living room. I'm going over 2 or 3 minutes, and I apologize, but the story is important, maybe just to me. But anyway, I was sitting watching Aida on my brother's big TV screen, and in my head, I heard my mom say, Joleen, Joleen. And no, she's in a coma. This is my imagination. Anyway, long story short, she had left her body, and so she was contacting me and letting me know that she had passed. It was a wonderful gift she gave me. So when you are dying, keep in mind that you are the immortal spirit, that God is within you, that you are not created to die, that you are a spark, a part of God.